Transportation for It's Your Call guests provided by Preferred Car and Limousine.
I think it's an unfortunate incident. I think they're trying to make amends. Unfortunately, though, I don't think you can unring a bell, which, you know, we can all move forward. I think we should stop focusing on what did happen and try to understand why it happened and move forward.
Bygones be bygones. Like, the situation's over.
If they would have gone out to the swim club and accepted their second invitation and their admission of guilt, I think things would have been a lot different. A little bit of kumbaya probably wouldn't have hurt anybody.
I feel that people should accept an apology because nobody's perfect.
If it's a heartfelt apology, then accept it and move on.
That's what people around our region had to say about a topic that generated and continues to generate a lot of debate. You may know it as the whites-only pool controversy. We want to know what you think about it, so I invite you to go ahead and email me at the address on your screen there, or find me on Facebook and tell me what you think. We're joined now by attorneys Brian and David Mildenberg, who filed a class action complaint in federal court against the Valley Club, and they're also providing pro bono representation for two families whose children are Creative Steps day campers. At this point, though, I'd like to know what the status of your case is, because we just heard Mr. Levin, who represents the camp itself, say he's going to let the Pennsylvania Human Rights Commission do its thing before he moves forward.
That's absolutely right. And we are currently in a position of coordinating with Mr. Levin. And we also agree that the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission should continue its investigation. So at this point in time, we're in a position to advise our client to allow the class action case to not move forward at this time while the Pennsylvania Human Relations proceedings continue.
What's the purpose of filing a class action suit?
A class action suit is filed by one or more individuals on behalf of other individuals who are unrepresented. A class action suit can be filed in an appropriate circumstance whenever there is a large number of people. And usually in a class action suit, that's not 60 people, it's thousands of people. But class actions can be certified in cases of as little as 10 people that has occurred as well. So it's a procedural mechanism to obtain justice for an entire group when there's only one or two people that are pursuing the action. Let's
talk about this concept of justice, if we can. What would you hope to accomplish by filing such a suit against this swim club?
Yes, I think one of the purposes or one of the goals that we would like to see happen here is, first off, is to keep the best interests of the children at the forefront of any outcome of any of the proceedings, whether it's the class action, whether it's the commission, or whether it's Mr. Levin's purported lawsuits.
Now, when you say keep the interest of the children, I have to talk a little bit about that, because I have to wonder if putting them at the center of this controversy, on one hand, doesn't create a dialogue that we're all, engaged in, but Annette, if it doesn't somehow harm them or prolong the pain that they may have experienced.
That's what I got to wonder, Lynn. I mean, what do you want the kids to remember about this summer? Do you want them to remember that they were the bigger people by accepting an invitation, going back to the pool, and getting being the bigger person? Or do you want them to remember the pain and the anger brought on by a lawsuit where no one is talking to each other, no one's having fun, maybe the children are at some point going to have to testify? To me, that's more traumatizing than what happened to them at the pool.
I actually, I won't sit here and criticize at all how the campus handled it. I mean, they found themselves in the national spotlight. We do not represent the camp. We've never appeared publicly with them or with any of the children. The children we represent, in fact, we have filed their case in a confidential manner under the federal rules, where you don't even identify these children. And so, we certainly have not engaged in that practice of parading them around. And when the camp announced that it was offering to bring the children back, we were willing to defer to the camp, and we did not make the decision to, in any way, we did not participate in the camp's decision. We were not present at that meeting. We simply had a separate legal action going on. But had the camp decided to go back, we were all for that.
Okay.
Given that she said no, we're where we are. We're now going to cooperate with the Pennsylvania Human
Now, you
Relations
heard him
Commission.
say that it's being handled in a confidential manner. In fact,
Correct.
we have one of your clients on the telephone lines with us right now, but
Correct.
we are not identifying her by her name, her true name, because we are protecting her identity. So I am going to call her Jeanette. Jeanette, are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me. Why do you think it's important to move forward with this lawsuit? Do you feel that your child has been irreparably or, you know, in some way harmed forever?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell me how?
Because now you have to understand the situation that they were put in. Whenever they're faced with a group of white people, how would they feel? You know, are they going to be able to walk into a school and wonder if they're wanted there, accepted there, or going to leave, or, you know, how they're going to act?
And do you think by going into a courtroom that this will send a message that we just don't tolerate this kind of thing in 2009?
I'm not going to say the courtroom per se, but I just wanted to know that it's just not going to be tolerated.
How are your children doing now?
They're okay.
Getting through?
Yeah, they're doing the best they can. We're working through it, and hopefully they'll be attending counseling soon.
All right. Jeanette, thank you very much for discussing this with us. I appreciate it. We did go to Facebook when this controversy first erupted and gave you an opportunity to tell us what you think. And there has not been a topic in recent months that I can remember that generated such a discussion. We're going to share those with you in just a moment. But first, I did want to tell you, we got some people from Facebook to call in and share their opinions. So I want to go back to the telephone lines and get some opinions, including Frank. Hey, Frank, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I know you've been waiting a long time. Tell me what you think about this situation. Do you really think that the club intended to be racist, or did it react poorly?
Well, to tell you, I believe individuals at the club acted in a racial manner. And I agree with one of your earlier guests who said that, you know, if the club could have handled the aftermath in a worse way, I don't know how they could have done it. I mean, it was the most stupid reaction to a situation I've ever seen in my life.
So having said that, how do you think it should be handled? Should it have to perhaps close down to deal with a lawsuit? What should happen?
You know, I'm glad there's a voice of reason there with your Inquirer columnist, because once you've got a room full of lawyers, as you have around the table there, I think you've got a problem.
All right.
I was one of the people who went to the pool that first evening afterwards and protested.
But Frank, what do you think should happen? I'm almost out of time.
Right.
Close it down?
No, I don't think that's necessary. I'm more concerned about, you know, the psychological trauma that the kids are going to have.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there because I'm almost out of time to give these guys a chance to react. But thanks so much. I appreciate the call. Danny, we're 1 minute away from the end of this discussion, sadly. But what should happen?
Well, I'm very first offended at the room full of lawyers comment. That was shocking.
Get over it.
But I will tell you, Frank, there is no right without a remedy, okay? I mean, lawsuits exist to right wrongs. And if you have those civil rights, they mean zilch if you can't enforce them. So we have a system. The federal rules provide for this sensitive matter and kids to be protected the way they have been. We have a system. It's not perfect, but that's how we right wrongs.
All right, and let's go to the voice of reason here from the Philadelphia Inquirer for the last word on this topic.
Well,
just accept the apology and move on?
Well, yeah. Because,
20 seconds.
Because the club re-invited them. If they would have kept the invitation to themselves and not allowed the children to come back, then of course.
All right. On that note, I will have to say thank you. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your perspective on this. And if you want to email me, you can do that anytime. We'll see you the next time.